In order to be mashpia, he has to put himself into the hashpah. He has to be involved in it. In order to be involved in it, he has to start all over again. Because if he is going to give him the seichel as he is personally involved in it, this time Makabel is not going to have shaykhs to this. Therefore, he has to go back to a state, kilu lehiski, as if he has not understood the sin. And then as a result of this tzimtzum nimtzo boy ha'oir seichel ha'shaychel ha'makabel. The oir seichel ha'shaychel ha'makabel, that the seichel that pertains, that can relate to the makabel, surfaces. Again, as we discussed, I just want to. Oir means that this is a brightness coming from a source. That's what oir is. And that's what seichel is, essentially. Seichel, as concrete and as clear as it is the important element in this seichel is its connection to the source. And this comes in the form of oir. In other words, ultimately the seichel is not something, is not that which is grasped, that which is defined by its limits. The real seichel is the oir that shines through it. In order to identify this oir seichel, the mashpia, he has it from a completely different level. He has to remove the oir seichel as he sees it. And then the oir seichel that pertains to the makabel, that it surfaces. Again, we discussed this quite extensively. So he removes completely his own understanding, his own seichel, and yet the seichel hashaychel hamkabel surfaces. How does the seichel hashaychel hamkabel surface if he does not understand anything? His own seichel is completely concealed, and he says in parentheses, he explains this principle. V'im heyois, that although shahisal muzhu, that the concealment is ki'ilu lo hiskil eza seichel. He is in the state after hisalmos as if he does not understand any seichel. So he doesn't have oir seichel in him. B'kol mokoim, but yet still, li'yoisei oimed b'yoisei inyon. Because that he is oimed, yes, he stands in that inyan. What does that mean? He stands in that inyan. We discussed that in essence, this is the reality as it pertains to, as he knows it, as he experiences it, as he realizes it. Whether he understands or not, this is the reality in which he exists. Oimed Beis inyan. He stands in that inyan. Rotzo Leimer, which we mean to say is Shahisalmus Hurag Behagilui, that the concealment applies only to the gilui, to the expression, the revelation of the oil. Avim Mikol Mokoim, but yet still Oy made Behelam Beatzmai Be'esi Ho'inyan. Deep down in himself, he stands in that inyan. Shehiski, which he understood. Now, but this is the reality internal to himself without the oil. This is the reality as it is. And as a result of this, this is how the oir seichel shaychel hamkabel surfaces. Again, I want to reiterate what we said yesterday and before. Seichel is a reflection, is a gilui of the reality of the nefesh. It's not a created entity at the point of seichel. Which means that this reality is real in the nefesh itself. But in the nefesh, it's contained internally. Seichel is what reveals it. Therefore, even if he concealed the seichel, the reality remains. This Rav, now everyone has this reality, as we pointed out, but everyone has this reality and a very deep concealed within, internal to the nefesh. Whereas by the Rav, this reality is in the essence of his seichel, not in the gilui of seichel, but in the essence of seichel, not as it is concealed in the nefesh, but in the essence of his seichel. As we gave the examples, all kinds of different examples, that it is obvious to a living human being, a bar seichel, even if he's not a masculine, that there are certain things, certain ways that a human being behaves that distinctly from animals, and he clearly sees the difference between an animal and a human being, without going into big seichel inyanim, because that's his conscious and living reality. So this Pshat is oimed behelem be'atzim be'esuyin, and therefore the oiseichel hashachal makabel is able to surface. Uba bevchinas nekuda klolis behelem, and that oiseichel hashachal makabel comes in the form of a nekuda klolis, in a very general, all-inclusive nekuda, a single point, without elaboration, without enrichment, behelem, in a concealed manner, which means he cannot even elaborate on it, but he's got it behelem. Shehi hamagbeles, and this nekuda continue then afterwards as defines as klolus hahashpo, the overall hashpo, what he is going to bestow upon his Talmud. How the hashpo should be, how it should be presented, how he should approach it. This Hanakuda defines it. However, this is again the important point which we rehashed many times. That even though Nekuda really contains everything, Behelem. And this is what defines what the Hashpah is going to be. Still, so that the oil should surface from this Nekuda. Hainu his galus haprotim le'atzmoi, which means the protim that are contained in this Nekuda should surface le'atzmoi, even internal to himself. He should himself recognize and identify the protim that are contained in this Nekuda. What in fact he should reveal to the Mekabel, and how he should reveal it, even though it's all contained in the Nekuda. Yet that occurs, this Gilui occurs alidei hareze alidei shechozer umayir etzloi ha'oir. It is as a result of the fact that within himself the oil comes back and it shines, the original oil shines through the Nekuda. And this is how this the oil that shines through the Nekuda reveals all that is contained in this Nekuda. To draw it directly from the Nekuda itself, as we explained many times and yesterday, if we draw it directly from the Nekuda itself, it would be again it would be without oil. It would be just just principles without oir. Oir has to come from a source.
The Nakuda Nakuda is also coming from the source, though, right? I mean, the fact that he stands in that Inyan, that's the source basically. This is what allows the Nakuda to surface.
No. Yes, we said because it's oil in the but it's without oil. Nakuda is without oil. It's just a principle without oil.
Why does the Sechel Hashayach HaMakabel need to surface in a way of Nakuda first instead of without or? And then only after does he have to?
They explained when they discussed the difference between the mashpia and the makabel. They said the mashpia and the makabel that should be yarech. What is it? What is the distinction? What's the difference?
The mashpia sees the Inyan directly from the source.
And the
makabel sees Matthias. I mean, what he sees.
To the makabel, this oil has to come as a discovery, as something being created at this level, not from the source, not the existent reality. This is why he has to come to the point of an akud. There is no seichel in here, and then from this he develops a seichel. That's how the makabel can relate to it.
So the is like where the Talmud's holding, like where you can find a common ground with the makabel, and then into that he brings the.
Right, the Talmud is holding. It's not. The Nakuda is not even seichel. It's just it's not an oil. It's just an Nakuda of these principles. And because it's just a Nakuda, this is why when the oil comes to this Nakuda, the makabel can relate to it, because it's got a beginning. One principle in the makabel, it has to know the beginning and the middle and the end. But mashpia, it doesn't have to have a beginning. And the Rambam says, the first principle of Chochmah is that there is a Motzur Rishon. Motzur Rishon, that's not how you can translate to makabel. That's a very alemedik seichel.
Is there any way? Sorry. Is it? What would be an example of the Nakuda?
You went yesterday. Were you on yesterday? No. Okay. Please listen. Yesterday, a whole hour is
okay.
Okay. So this inyan, that there should be gilui from the Nakuda, it is an idea shechozer umayir etzloi ha'oir. It is as a result of the fact that the oir, the original oir that before the tzimtzum, is brought back and it shines to this Nakuda, which means he again sees the truth of it. And this is how all the protein begin to surface. Always bring an example from Halacha, the Mishnah Shnayim Oiches in Betalis. Everybody knows what this is. Two people holding on to a garment come to Beis, and they dispute who it belongs to. Each one claims that it belongs to him. Now, at that stage, on the surface, it's a simple dispute between two people. There is no element of oil in it. They're just simply fighting over the garment. And this Rabban, he's going to pass, and he can't pass and say, please, children, don't fight. Divide it. That's not the point of that's not halach. He has to go back and see the oil in this. The principal oil, as we discussed many times, is that in fact this garment and these two people are in the neighbor's world, and they each have a schus in this garment, granted them by the Creator. So when he starts looking at it from that vantage point, then he can begin to bring out back, so to speak, an oyer seichel, a passing a shaila on the basis of Torah, basis of oyer, rather than arbitrate a fight.
So that piece that he's looking at it as that they each have a schus, that's the nekuda? That's like the nekuda?
No, the nekuda is the stripped down thing. They are holding on to it and they are fighting. Mm-hmm. But he's not going to pass him on that basis. He has to go back and say, what is the origin of this? What is the oyer that permits this to happen? Because if he were to pass him from the nekuda point, says, if you're fighting, I'm putting you both in jail. That's it. Kepaskum.
And he also starts from the point that neither of them is that there's no wrongdoing.
That's not. He has no idea what's happening.
But he goes to a level where they both have a switch. They both have a right.
They both have a right to it. That's the level. That's what he sees mitzad shechozer v'heir.
Nekuda is what enables the mashpia to just even relate to where the makabel is holding. Before the nekuda, the mashpia can't even sense like where the Talmud's coming from. Because it puts him in the same world as the Talmud.
The question is not that mashpia should be at the level of the Talmud. Okay, I don't know if you prefer that. The point is, he has to be mashpia or safe, not to make the Talmud stay where he is. That's not accomplished. For this, you don't need a mashpia. As I said, you were fighting, both go to jail. Finished. I pass him. I've stopped the fight. Like that. Listen to them. That's not.
Okay. Not gonna push. Okay.
So therefore, in order to draw from this nekuda all the ramifications that are contained therein, this is al shechozer umayir etzlei ha'oyer. That the oyer means the reality itself, begins to illuminate this nekuda. And then he says, hey, this is real. Yet this is real. This is not a fabricated thing. And similarly, during the time that he's mashpia, during the time that he is actually bestowing and revealing this seichel am kabel, meir etzli hoyer. The oyer seichel, the way it is in reality, is meir, is in full glory and full brightness. He senses it. Because he has to revert back to, I can say, what does the Gemara say? Dvar haloch, dvar havayi zu haloch. Dvar Havaya is halacha. These guys are fighting, so you're stopping a fight. How is this Dvar Havaya? That's the oyer. This is where the halacha comes from. The Dvar Havaya. What do you say about Abraham? Says, Hashem says, Ki Yedaitiv. I know him, I love him. The one said, Tzav has born away based on because he's going to direct and command his offspring. V'shomu derech Havaya, then they will keep, hold, and safeguard the derech Havaya, the path of Havaya. And last is Zoko Mishpat to do Zoko Mishpat. Zoko Mishpat, I said, is preventing fighting. How is this derech Havaya? Is derech Ha'elam. You want to have a functioning society, you have Zoko Mishpat. This is not what Avram's path was. Avram's way is not so different. This is derech Havaya. That you need the shechozer, the oil where it's coming from. So therefore, there is the meir etzli oyer. The oyer of the seichel is meir, is in full glory. Rak except so we're back to the same dilemma. If meir etzli oyer, and that oyer Yishaloi b'yerech of the Talmud, of the Makabel, so how is it going to be mashpia? And here's the point which we repeated many times. And I accept that the gilui oyer that is then at the point which Cheshvan Meir is k'moi alei dover hamafsik. It is like the oyer is there, but it's like it would come through dover hamafsik to something that interferes, that interrupts it. The derech hagbola is on nekuda, and through the hagbola, through the limit of the nekuda. In other words, yes, it shines. It's oyer shaykh. Please understand what the Rebbe is telling us here. Oyer, there is no way you can have sunshine, for example, if there's anything interfering with the light. It interferes in one instant. You put something in between, and there is no light. That is oyer. Oyer is that which is a direct view of the source, of the etzem. Direct view of the etzem is fine for the mashpia, but the makabel cannot relate to it. So now we say that the oyer is shechozer meir. So again, how are you going to relate to the makabel? So he says, but because that there was a moment where the oil was removed, and then it was brought back, so it is an oil, and it is oil, but it is an oil that maintains an element that it came back. Alidov hamafsik, that there was an interference, and then it came back. And this interference, this is what enables the mashpia to bring it to the makabel.
What role does the Nakuda play?
Huh?
What role does the Nakuda play? What role does the Nakuda play? The Nakuda.
The Nakuda, this is the Dover HaMafsik.
I thought the Dover Mafsik is the Hisalmus.
That's right, the Hisalmus.
And that makes
No, that's right. The Hisalmus is initially. This is what creates a Nakuda, but then the oil is coming back again. The oil is coming back, this is oil. Then again we have defeated our purpose. Because the oil goes through this Nakuda, the Nakuda is what limits the oil.
I understood.
No, one second. Again, you also should listen to last night's class. I'm sorry, it was a struggle thing. We just now finishing the motion from Shnai Mechas in Metalis. And we said, Shnai Mechas in Metalis. Okay, there's Allah and so on. This is Derech Havai. Where is the Derech Havai? The principle of Derech Havai is that because they're Eibishter, because this is Eibishter's world, because the Eibishter is the one who is giving the reality. This is why you're going to pass in the Shaila. However, you can't talk to a Tam and say, the Eibishter is here passing the Shaila on that basis. Give me an example. What are you talking about? The example is two people are arguing about a garment. This argument about a garment is in a state where there is no oil. They're just arguing. They're right into the world. And you say, well, yes, they're right into the world, but understand, this world is actually the Meiberson's world. And they both owe their reality and their highest to the neighbors. And if they should each get a piece of the garment, and they get it not by godly rule, then it's insignificant. Then it's going to be like I said, a bomb in their own home. But he doesn't see it, Yes. So in other words, this is the nekuda. This is like that's magbil. This is the means by which you can bring the oil back into the mashpia, into the makabel's reality. The dispute over a garment he can readily see. But that this dispute has a reality, that mashpia has to illuminate him. And he explains to him, I'm not only trying to stop you from fighting. I want each one of you to get that which is really yours, which is rightfully yours. Rightfully mine. He grabbed it from me. Rightfully, everything is rightfully mine. Okay, so the oil comes afterwards is K'moy alidover hamafsik. That's why k'moy. What means k'moy? As it were, because there's no oil alidover hamafsik. If it's mafsik, there's no oil.
Again, the light that comes after is k'mo davar hamafsik.
K'moy alidei davar hamafsik.
So as if by means of something that's interrupted.
As if it had been interrupted. But that bolas hankuda is to the path of the defining element of the nakuda. But yet still, al de hakiruv, it is via the closeness shechozer umayir that the original oil shines through. It's not the nakuda that creates it. Because if it were the nakuda, then I said, two people are disputing in the town, and so you didn't put them on in jail, or you just told them to stop fighting.
So after the Cheshvan umayir, and it's got the element of kiruv, yet still there's the element of davar hamafsik.
Yes,
that's to
there
say
is the oil. The oil is k'moy alidei davar hamafsik. It's not a straightforward shine.
This line it starts klaus v'helam shehiyah magbelas.
I'm sorry, our time is up. We'll have another time. We have
Magbelas.
Huh?
Magbelas,
right. Okay, have a great day.
ya